let it play, boy.
If you're only as good as the company keep, then I'ma blame you for what they say about me.
Free your mind, let your conscience be free.
When I was by myself, I was fast asleep.
And in West Africa, a new power was to arise after the decline of the Empire of Mali. By 1464 AD, a West African king named Sunni Ali rose to power and became the first ruler of the Songhai Empire. The Songhai Empire was located in the region of modern-day Gambia, Senegal, Niger, and northern Nigeria. The size of the Songhai Empire at its height reached 1,400,000 square kilometers, a territory larger than the size of Britain, France, Spain, and Germany. The first leader of the Songhai Empire, Sunni Ali, is known in world history as one of the most effective military strategists who have ever lived. Sunni Ali expanded the territory of the Songhai Empire to the north, east, south, and west, and took control of the key trading cities of Timbuktu and Jenny. Sunni Ali was never defeated in war, and being an effective war strategist, often changed his residence, reorganized his armies, and launched numerous military campaigns across Western Africa. By 1493 AD, a new African king rose to power to continue the expansion of the Songhai Empire, and his name was Askia Muhammad I. Later, he would become known as Askia Muhammad the Great. Now, by this time, Songhai was the largest and wealthiest empire in all of Western Africa, and had adopted Islam as the state religion, and the city of Gao had been established as its capital. Askia Muhammad was a devout Muslim, and in 1496 AD, Askia Muhammad made his pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca in Arabia. Askia Muhammad took with him over 1,000 soldiers from his army, as well as over 300,000 pieces of gold. Askia Muhammad the Great would again re-establish the city of Timbuktu as the center of learning for Africa and indeed the world at that time. More than 150 Quranic schools were established, producing scholars, scientists, jurists, and historians. Over 20,000 children of the Songhai were taught at the schools. The Empire of Songhai continued the trend started initially by their predecessor in the Mali Empire in the 14th century. Songhai again formed Timbuktu into the hub for knowledge, book trading, and scholarship, and this progressed throughout the 15th and 16th century. The Niger River ran through part of the empire and was utilized by the fishermen of Songhai. Salt was developed in the north, in the Tagaza region, while in the southern forests, cola nuts were grown and sold. Gold was mined elsewhere in the empire. And in the city of Jenny, trade was also flourishing. The Songhai Empire also took control of the trans-Saharan trade routes and were able to sell their merchandise to kingdoms in northern Africa and to other international markets in the Mediterranean and Europe. The Empire of Songhai developed a sophisticated system of governance to manage the large territory and resources it controlled. A number of ministries and posts were established, including the Ministry of the Army and the Navy, the Minister of Trade and the Minister of Industry. The empire was structured into regions and provinces with each having a governor to rule over it. All of this structure ensured individual provinces did not break away and attempt to form independent kingdoms. The Songhai Empire also produced some notable scholars including Abd al-Sadi and Mahmud Kati. Abd al-Sadi was a Songhai scholar born in 1655 AD and is known for producing the great work called Tariq al-Sudan, which means the history of the Sudan. His work specifically chronicles the history of the Songhai Empire.
They say our way is dead. They say our way is no more. And that the Nile Valley legacy ended thousands of years ago. But we are here, and we do remember. It is large in our DNA, tapped down deep in our melanin, our core. So we travel deep within, and we fasted and we prayed. And then one day, one by one, Austin never had 2 by 2, but thousands, the millions of us wake up to the ancient healing, holistic health from the Nile Valley legacy. It's important that we go because on that land and that remembrance, the healer will all the way up and she will come all the way out and she will spread the wellness around the entire globe.
This is Black Eyes TV once again, Mr. Riggs, Terry Riggs, UK tour guide to the rest of the world. And this is the time for us to able to study, as this is Black History Month, and I want you to able to connecting the dots to every information and doing your research at the same time, because it's for you to understand from where you come from and who you are. So subscribe, share and like. This is Black Eyes TV, New Beginning, Mr. Riggs. Peace.
The Barbary Company or Morocco Company was a trading company established by Queen Elizabeth I of England in 1585 through a patent granted to the Earls of Warwick and Leicester, as well as 40 others. When she wrote the patents, Elizabeth emphasized the value of the region's divers merchandise for the use and defense of England. The privilege of the company was to benefit from exclusive trade for Morocco for a period of 12 years, until its charter expired in 1597. Queen Elizabeth sent her minister Roberts to the Moroccan Sultan Ahmed al-Mansur to reside in Morocco and obtain advantages for English traders. A treaty signed in 1728 extended these privileges, especially those pertaining to the safe conduct of English nationals. Topic: Background and origins. The formal beginning of Anglo-Ottoman relations dates back to correspondence between Elizabeth I and the Ottoman Sultan Murad III, which led in May 1580 to an agreement between the two rulers that English merchants could pass safely through Ottoman-controlled seas and port in the eastern Mediterranean and the Barbary coast of North Africa. This essentially granted trading privileges to the English, who for various reasons, mainly piracy, had been unable to trade efficiently in the Mediterranean since the 1550s, and in September 1581, the Turkey Company was established as a joint stock venture to take advantage of this new monopoly on regional trade. In 1585, the Barbary Company, separate from the Turkey Company and the Venice Company 1583, who also operated in the Mediterranean and later merged into the Levant Company in 1592, was established with many of the same merchant investors, with a focus on trade along the Atlantic coast of Morocco. Morocco was at that point the main source of sugar for the English market, prior of course to the development of the West Indies plantations in the 1600s. The company. Headed by Robert Dudley, 1st Earl of Leicester, and Ambrose Dudley, 3rd Earl of Warwick, the Barbary Company achieved little regulation of affairs and was never incorporated, with its first charter expiring in 1597. It was not even formally named as the Barbary Company, a conventional title. Nor was there a provision of a governor or a court of assistants like with most companies at the time. The charter itself was merely a collective license to 2 noblemen and around 40 London merchants for exclusive trade with Morocco for 12 years. The main act of trade the company engaged in was the trade of English cloth for Moroccan sugar, though at its inception, there were complaints from merchants in London that the cloth was being sold excessively cheaply while the sugar was being acquired at expensive rates. Many of the company's members also ended up trading for the Levant Company due to the close geography and intertwining of interests, the success of the latter probably contributing towards the commercial defeat of the Barbary Company.
Good question.
If we are obedient to our Creator, He promises us longevity and health. You want to see disease? Let us visit our churches and our synagogues, our temples, and we see disease. Then, after seeing disease in these places, our shepherd, indulges against that which God has designed for us. So the flock follows him. It happened to my brother. Isn't that frightening? You're stepping on toes. But should we charge the bearer of the information? No. He should not be charged. We should listen. I could not have gathered all of this information unless I had listened. Most certainly, if I had gone to the discipline as my brothers, I would not have arrived at this particular foundation, because I would have given you what...
Anglo-Moroccan alliance was established at the end of the 16th century and the early 17th century between the kingdoms of England and Morocco. Commercial agreements had been reached by Queen Elizabeth I of England and the Moroccan leader Ahmed al-Mansur on the basis of a mutual enmity to the Spanish King Philip II. The arms trade dominated the exchange, and numerous attempts at direct military collaboration were also made. The alliance was maintained for some time by the successes. Background: the alliance between the two states developed during the 16th century on the back of regular commercial exchanges, largely thanks to the work of the Amflet family of merchants. European trade with Morocco had been at the command of Spain, Portugal, and Genoa, but in 1541 the Portuguese suffered the loss of Safi and Agadir, loosening the grip on the area. Following the sailing of the Lion of Thomas Wyndham in 1551, and the 1585 establishment of the English Barbary Company, trade developed between England and the Barbary States, and especially Morocco. Sugar, ostrich feathers and saltpeter from Morocco were typically exchanged for English fabrics and firearms. In spite of the protests of Spain and Portugal, Elizabeth I had numerous exchanges with Sultan Abd al-Malik to facilitate trade and obtain advantages for English traders. The Sultan could speak Spanish and Italian as well as Arabic. In 1577 he wrote to the Queen in Spanish, signing himself Abdul-Malik in Latin script. The same year, the Queen sent Edmund Hogan as ambassador to the Moroccan court. Alliance. Elizabeth was initially reluctant to develop an arms trade with Morocco, for fear of criticism by other Christian powers, as was communicated by Hogan to the Sultan in 1577. Contacts, however, soon developed into a political alliance as a result of further diplomatic exchanges between Elizabeth I and Sultan Ahmed al-Mansur. After the defeat of Portugal at the Battle of Alcácer-Quibir in 1578, Anglo-Spanish war relations intensified with the acclamation of Philip II of Spain as King of Portugal in 1580, and the advent of the Anglo-Spanish War in 1585. In 1581, Elizabeth authorized the exportation of naval-grade timber to Morocco in exchange for saltpeter, a necessary ingredient in gunpowder. The establishment of the Barbary Company in 1585 further gave England a monopoly on Morocco trade for 12 years. In 1585 to 1588, through the embassy of Henry Roberts, Elizabeth tried to obtain the Sultan's help in backing Dom Antonio. In 1588, Almansa granted special privileges to English traders. In her letters to Almansa, Elizabeth, over a period of 25 years, continually described the relationship between the two countries as la buena amistad y confederación que hay entre nuestras coronas, and presented herself as vuestra hermana y pariente según ley de corona y sceptro. In January 1589, Almansa, through his ambassador to the Queen, Marzucre, requested the supply of oars, carpenters and shipwrights, as well as transportation on English ships, in exchange for his contribution of 150,000 ducats and his military help for an Anglo-Moroccan expedition against Spain in favor of the Portuguese claimant. He also requested English military assistance in case of a conflict with neighboring non-Christian countries. Elizabeth could not meet these demands completely, especially the transportation of Moroccan forces, and negotiation drew on until the death of Dom Antonio in 1595. The 1589 English expedition to Portugal moved ahead nonetheless, and ended in failure, with the English fleet hoping in vain for reinforcements from England and Morocco. Only the Moroccan ambassador Marzucre was accompanying the expedition, on board the flagship of Dom Antonio, disguised as a Portuguese nobleman, and stayed until summer 1589. 1600, embassy diplomatic relations continued to intensify between Elizabeth and the Barbary States. England entered in a trading relationship with Morocco detrimental to Spain, selling armor, ammunition, timber, metal in exchange for Moroccan sugar, in spite of a papal ban, prompting the papal nuncio in Spain to say of Elizabeth, "There is no evil that is not devised by that woman, who, it is perfectly plain, succored Morocco with arms, and especially with artillery." In 1600, Abdelwahd Ben Messaoud, the principal secretary to the Moroccan ruler Mulai Ahmed al-Mansa, visited England as an ambassador to the court of Queen Elizabeth I. Abdelwahd Ben Messaoud spent 6 months at the court of Elizabeth, in order to negotiate an alliance against Spain. The Moroccan ruler wanted the help of an English fleet to invade Spain. Elizabeth refused, but welcomed the embassy as a sign of insurance, and instead accepted to establish commercial agreements. Queen Elizabeth and King Ahmed continued to discuss various plans for combined military operations, with Elizabeth requesting a payment of £100,000 in advance to King Ahmed for the supply of a fleet, and Ahmed asking for a tall ship to be sent to get the money. Elizabeth agreed to sell munitions supplies to Morocco, and she and Mulai Ahmed al-Mansa talked on and off about mounting a joint operation against the Spanish. Discussions, however, remained inconclusive, and both rulers died within 2 years of the embassy. James I and Charles I. Morocco had been falling into a state of anarchy following the death of Ahmed al-Mansa in 1603, and local warlords had been on the rise, making the alliance with the Sultanate less and less meaningful. James I also made peace with Spain upon his accession in 1603, with the Treaty of London. Relations continued under James I, however, who sent his ambassador John Harrison to Mully Zayden in 1610 and again in 1613 and 1615 in order to obtain the release of English captives in Morocco. English privateers such as Jack Ward continued to prosper in collaboration with the Barbary states, including Morocco. During the 30 Years' War under the rule of Charles I, England sought Moroccan military help against Spain in Tetuan and Salé. England had hoped to obtain Moroccan cooperation after the 1625 English attack on Cadiz, but the campaign proved disastrous and ruined the prestige of England. On the 10th of May 1627, England passed an agreement with one of these local warlords, the Mujahideen leader Sidi al-Ayyashi, to obtain his help in releasing English captives, in exchanges for the supply of provisions and arms. England and al-Ayyashi collaborated for a period of about 10 years, as in the attempted coordinated liberation of Al-Marmura. In 1632, the city of Salé, a major harbour to piracy, was jointly taken by an English squadron and Moroccan forces, permitting the pacification of the city and the release of Christian prisoners. On May 13, 1637, a convention was signed between Charles I and Sidi Mohammed El Ayyachi, master of Salé, allowing for the supply of military armament to the Sultan. Embassies of Mali Ismail relations continued under the Moroccan ruler Mali Ismail. In 1682, he sent Mohammed bin Haddo as Moroccan ambassador sent to the English court of Charles II. Mohammed spent 6 months in England in a highly commented visit. He visited Oxford, Cambridge and the Royal Society among many other places. These exchanges, 40 years of shifting alliances between England and Morocco, related to European conflicts, trade issues, Barbary Coast pirates and the exchange of captives. One of the high points of these contacts occurred in 1720–21, when English ambassadors John Windus and Commodore Hon. Charles Stewart visited Morocco. They succeeded in signing a diplomatic treaty with Morocco for the first time and returned home with 296 released British slaves. Moroccan ambassadors were again sent to England in 1726, and in 1727 a new treaty was signed by John Russell with Mali Ismail's successor.
Hi guys, welcome to Pen Pansy. My name's Michelle and I'm the co-owner of Pen Pansy Mitcham. As you know, we're well known for our natural products and we cater to products for mind, body and soul. We're coming up to 1 year anniversary and we're really looking forward to focusing on weekly events which will be promoting our brands that we hold in store.
So I've been coming to the store for probably maybe a year now, it feels like. It was just great to get this type of store within the community where I could pick up my vitamins, I could pick up sea moss, I could pick up all the essential things I need to reach my maximum performance, whether it's mentally, physically.
My name's Janice and I'm the designer and founder of J Chic Gifts. I came here in April of this year to join Pen Pansy to bring my colour, pictures, bags and clothes designs to enhance the look of Pen Pansy.
We really like to focus on natural healing here at Pen Pansy, so we offer a wide range of natural holistic products. We have natural herbal remedies, we have natural supplements and we have a lot of natural herbal teas.
Here at Pen Pansy, we have started doing workshop classes for all ages. The subjects that we deal with are card making, sewing and pattern cutting. We also do upholstery, shoe and lampshade covering. There are people out there that would like to start a new hobby and even a new business. I'm here to make arts and crafts enjoyable for everyone.
We're looking for our local residents to get in touch with us. All our events will be marketed towards your everyday needs. If you have issues with menopause, hair loss, or if you simply want to learn about crystal healing and crystal therapy, all of our events will be tailored towards your needs. So do get in touch. We're waiting to hear from you. Put your name down on the mailing list and you'll be kept in a loop of all the events we've got coming up.
I first came into this shop because it was selling black products. I wanted to know if they had these. I could find them somewhere else, but I was so happy that a The shop was opening in Mitcham.
Hi, I'm Miss Kes Sims, and the reason why I am here at Penpansy is because the product range is endless. Internal supplements for your health, skincare, natural health care. There's none other like it. Make sure you do get down here to Penpansy and enhance your health. Be here, check it out. It's amazing.
Hi, my name's Basil Links, and it's been 1 year since we've opened Mitcham. I'd really like to say a big thank you to all those that have supported and all those that haven't. Please come and check us out. I'd like to say a big thank you to the team because they're doing an amazing job, and I know that we're going to go from strength to strength, with your support and help. So, well done, Mitcham. Keep it moving.
Okay, there's something I want to say about Negro Land of the Arabs. Remember, this was written during the colonial era, and the author is clearly basically aligned with the colonialists. So, a lot of things in there have to be taken with skepticism, which makes it interesting that on page 64 he says, Mansa Musa, on his return, conceived the idea of building himself a fine palace. Abu Ishaq sold him a model and erected the edifice, with plaster and all kinds of ornaments, for which he received 12,000 methicals of gold. On medieval West Africa, from Arab Scholars and Merchants, page 95, he says, he plastered it on over and covered it with colored patterns so that it turned out to be the most elegant buildings. It caused the Sultans great astonishment because of the ignorance of the art of building in their land, and rewarded Abu Ishaq for it with 12,000 mythicals of gold. You notice the difference between the two is that the older one, the one written in 1840s, does not have him saying that the art of building was unknown in the Sudan, in Mali. And that's interesting. And I would have to think that Ibn Khaldun didn't say that. I would have to think that it was something that racists came up later, and it became part of the mainstream idea that Ibn Khaldun said that they were ignorant of the art of building. So it has to be taken into consideration that many translations are simply wrong. And I assume that Negro Land of the Arabs, that book, there's a lot of mistranslations in it, or misrepresentations in that too. It's just that it evolved over time, and there became more and more mistranslations, and it's accepted by everyone. Now on trade, Pekemeh Sonnen shows us that the trade across the Sahara. The trade across the Sahara was more important for North Africa than for Sudan. He wrote, "This made the uninterrupted continuity of trade more important for North African rulers than their West African counterparts. The demand for salt, for which the Arabs bartered the gold in West Africa, is usually overemphasized in the historiography. Contrariwise, the Saharan rock salt was an expensive luxury product and available to the wealthy people only. Furthermore, it could be quite easily sustained by locally produced salt from plants and soil, whereas the North African rulers could not obtain gold for their coins elsewhere." So, in reality, the Sudanese, the people south of the desert, had the upper hand in these relations, and they had a huge amount of control over the Saharan trade. And this is supported in Timbuktu the Mysterious. He says how the Moroccans were never really that interested in hegemony over Africa south of the desert. And there's a proverb that goes, "As tar cures the gall of a camel, so poverty finds its unfailing remedy in the Sudan." And that's a saying of North Africa, because Africa south of the desert is so rich. The people were so rich. So now we're going to go into the Moroccan invasion of Songhai. And first it's to be pointed out that there wasn't a great argument between these two. There wasn't a huge amount of tensions going on. This was something that was orchestrated by European powers. Note, the author of the book says that the Saharan salt mines, were nearer to Morocco than to the countries of Niger. But the Gaza, as we have seen, was the property of the Songhai. So there's property that's closer to Morocco that's owned by a ruler of Songhai. Now this is important. It goes on in the book Timbuktu the Mysterious. One of the rulers of Morocco wanted to claim that he has rights to this mine, and the Sudanese should pay for the salt coming from that mine. So one of the rulers of Songhai sends an army of Tuaregs north into Morocco. Evidence abounds that the Sudanese people basically had control over the Sahara. A lot more control of the Sahara than people give them credit for, and the Saharan trade. Especially since they're owning and running mines that are closer to Morocco than to Niger. So one of the kings of Morocco eventually complained that it's closer to his realms, he should own it. He takes control of the mines, and this is so important because the people of the Sudan have the Songhai have their own mines. So just like Pekemeh Sonnen said, the importance of salt has been over-exaggerated, probably by racist colonialists or biased colonial writers that want to see the racial theories of making people of the South always being passive and dominated. So one thing I just want to leave with, the Moroccan invasion of Songhai had support from Queen Elizabeth, and even the language used in the invading army was Spanish. And it was not just men, mercenaries that were part of the army. There was also supplies, cannons. So that needs to be looked into, because, you know, this was to the advantage of these European.
RSK, let it play, boy.
Tamaray Soiree and Luster Hair Products proudly presents A Night with a Difference.
By taking it back to the first Black Egyptian dynasty, celebrating Black History Month like a pharaoh.
Enjoy feasting on a Caribbean buffet and fundraising for breast cancer.
Performances on the night will be Tanae Edwards, Super Arts Dance Academy, Soul Songstress, Hill Street Soul, and Egyptian Showcase by Terry Jervis.
Music on the night by Satisfaction Sound and DJ Piper.
At the Holiday Inn Bloomsbury, Coram Street, London WC 1NHT on Saturday the 19th of October from 6:30 till 2 a.m.
Early bird tickets £60 from Eventbrite. Here and Now Salon in Shepherd's Bush and Tamaray Event Designers on 07507 218 053.
Dress code black tie and Egyptian themed.